So then I see him right there in the middle of the bone tower with my cousin Marvin. And I'm like, this asshole never told me he was an actor.
But how the hell can you tell which one is your cousin?
Because he's the only one who's smiling. He's always happy when he's getting boned.
Welcome to O.Chaplins Picks, where I need to watch movies like a zombie needs to eat brains. And the funny thing is, the movie I'm going to be talking about today does actually feature a zombie that's eating brains. So it's very appropriate for this channel. Not saying that we eat brains over here. So 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple is the sequel to 28 Years Later, which came out last year in 2025, which I was a fan of, but I felt that it was more of a slow burn, and my final rating for that one was 4 brains. This is one of those rare occasions where the sequel is better than the original. I think they did a fantastic job. The characters are much more interesting in this film. You have 2 different storylines going on. The first one picks up right where the last film ended, with Spike running into the Jimmy gang run by Jimmy. If you knew or didn't know, Jimmy is the small boy in the beginning of the first film whose family gets massacred by the infected, and he's hiding in a church and he's the only one that gets away. And we see just how savage and brutal this gang is. And their leader, Jimmy, I can only describe as basically a Charles Manson type of guy. It's like if you took Charles Manson and you put him in a world of zombies and you saw how he takes advantage of that situation and gets his followers to do his bidding. Poor Spike, who's been forcefully initiated into the gang, and we see the horrible things that he's having to witness and be involved in, which he absolutely wants no part of, but he has no choice in the matter, because if he tries to leave, they're gonna do horrible things to him. Then we have the second storyline going on, which follows our boy Dr. Kelson from the first film, played by Ralph Fiennes, who's always fantastic, and he's still living his days with his memento mori, his shrine to the dead, and he's much more involved with Samson in this movie. We saw that he was involved with Samson in the first movie, but in this movie, Samson, the alpha zombie from the first one, plays a much bigger role. It's really interesting because he's basically doing this daily drugging of Samson with his morphine concoction, and he's trying to figure out how to make Samson more human. And he's building this strange friendship with him. There's also some really humorous moments in there of Dr. Kelson just trying to have this person to talk to, which just so happens to be an infected alpha. But it works so great. The dynamic between the two is fantastic. The difference between the 2 storylines, you have the Jimmy storyline, which is showing the monstrousness of humanity and how these humans can be even more scary than the actual infected. And then you have the Dr. Kelson side, which is showing a human trying to make a monster become more human again. As the film progresses, the storylines build up on each side, and then it leads to this fantastic climax at the end. The climax was very satisfying. I found myself on the edge of my seat, wondering what was going to happen. It was very unpredictable, but you know that something crazy is going to happen when these characters finally meet. And the dynamic between Dr. Kelson and Jimmy is also fantastic, because you have one who's a religious fanatic and then the other one who's a doctor that believes in science. And the dialogue that transpires between these two is just so well written by Alex Garland.
You know, maybe it's time you quit doing these reviews. I mean, you're barely getting any views as it is.
I see what you're doing here. Reverse psychology. That's brilliant. I love it.
Reverse psychology? What are you talking about? I don't know anything about that.
No, Mikey. I get it. And just because of that, I'm gonna do twice as many videos now. Thanks, buddy.
You know what, man? Yeah, make lots of videos till you're so burnt out you can't move.
Exactly. I'm on it, Mikey.
No, that wasn't the point of what I said. No more reviews. No!
So I'm going to give my 5 brain reasons of why I give this 5 out of 5 brains. So brain reason number 1, the story. This story has a lot of heart. It's unpredictable. It has great character development. The dialogue is fantastic. And I just felt like they did a really good job. My second brain reason is the characters and the actors who played them. The characters in this movie are so fleshed out. Dr. Kelson and Jimmy are just fantastic characters, played so well by Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell. There's some other standout characters in the film as well. Jimmy Inc., who's a member of the gang, played by Erin Kellyman, is also fantastic. She has some humanity to her character, even though she's like the most badass one from the gang. She's also very likable and does some things that make her quite humane in the movie, and I felt like the actress did a fantastic job. And even Spike's character grew on me a little bit more this time around. In the first film, I thought he was okay, but I can't say I was like, that he was my favorite character. But this time around, I felt like he does some things that redeem him a little bit. And I also had a lot of sympathy towards his character because of what he has to go through and the situation that he's put in. My third brain reason is going to be the tension and suspense. This movie had a lot of suspense. I was on the edge of my seat a lot with both sequences going on. When Dr. Kelson was with Samson and when the Jimmies were going around doing their stuff, I was on the edge of my seat. And then there was also some tension with the scenes that have the infected as well. To me, it felt like they added this vibe of A Clockwork Orange in there with the gang of Jimmies, because it just reminded me a lot of the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange, except much more savage and much more grisly. My fourth brain reason is the pacing and the final payoff. As I said earlier, the pacing of this movie is fantastic. It doesn't feel slow. It doesn't feel long. It feels like it just flows right along, and it has this great buildup. And as I said, the payoff is totally worth it. So the pacing, they did a great job on this. And number 5 is a little more technical. It's going to be the cinematography and the setting, which I felt like they did such a good job with the shots in this movie, especially even the action sequences in the movie are fantastic. And the setting of them being isolated in the Scottish Highlands, just like in the first film, still works so well and really makes you feel like you're stuck in this bleak situation with these characters, and you feel like you're in the same situation as them, stuck with these infected and these crazy humans doing crazy things, and you just feel helpless to the situation. And I felt like it was very effective. So I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 brains. This was a very well done sequel. This is the way you do a proper sequel. I felt like they did a great job on taking the groundwork from the first film and expanding it and making it more interesting and just making it even better. This movie does have a lot of gore and some brutal scenes of torture, so keep that in mind if that's something that you don't want to see. If you liked the first one, you should check this out. If you didn't like the first one, you should still check this out because it's a better movie than the first one, and I think you may get more enjoyment out of The Bone Temple. Thanks again for checking out O.Chaplins Picks. I'll see you guys next time.